Okay, so this Panzer IV video covers the creation of the rear wheel for the suspension. And it's a little bit of an involved process. So let's start by making the axle thing here. Take a bamboo skewer and mark it at the 9mm mark and 4mm in. So get yourself a nice flat surface first and then mark it in those two places. And don't cut it off here. Leave it attached to the skewer at first. And we're just going to roll this 4mm mark under our blade. Similar to how we did the gun, the main gun. And just back cut around it a bit. Sort of round that a bit and then front cut it. Okay, and now we're going to take the blade again and roll it at the halfway point. So like 2mm from where you made the first cut, or 2mm from the end. But you can just estimate it and then back cut it again. Okay. And then take that off fairly level or flush. And now we can cut this off at the 9mm mark. And just be careful when you're snapping this off. For one, go deep with this cut. And just be careful not to snap here. Just snap where you want to snap. It's pretty easy to break those off, especially if you've cut deep at all with your original cuts. Okay, so now we've got that, we're going to take a 7mm hole punch and cut out a bunch of cereal box discs. So once you've got a bunch of these, take a put a guide hole right in the center, and then we're just going to expand that. I'm going to use the 1/16 bit to start. Try to keep it as centered as possible. And I'm going to expand it a bit. Now sometimes these will delaminate a bit on you and come apart. Try not to worry about that for now. We're going to be putting glue on it and attaching it to another one fairly soon here. So I recommend actually using the skewer that you made this from to push through here, so you make sure that you've got enough room. And you can see how the disc sort of deformed because the skewer is too large for the hole it's coming through. Just take a scraper blade and you can remove any excess that's stopping it from forming the correct shape. It should be easier to make a circle out of it after that. And just remove the skewer. And now, oh, it should go this way. I just want to insert this into the hole there. Make sure it sits fairly level and nice. It does. So now we can take out some 4:1 glue. I'm just going to remove this for a second. I'm going to put some glue on the end of that. And then I'm going to attach another 7mm hole punch disc to there. And I'm just going to do glossy side to glossy side because the one side toward the axle is visible, and so you need to be able to paint that. The other side isn't, but you attach it to a plastic button, and so it's best to have the non-glossy side because it glues a little bit better. So once you've got this little axle piece with a sort of a double layer of hole punch discs glued to the end, like so, you'll have something like this. This is a dry one already. And what you want to do is take an 11mm button. Now, I'm using 11mm buttons. They are actually a little bit larger than they need to be, but I have a lot of this kind and they're sort of a standard size, so I'm going to use 11mm. But you can go down to as small as 9 and still be pretty accurate for this. So I've attached a hole punch disc to the concave side here. It's a little bit tricky to do, so be careful when you're doing it to get the button really centered, because if you get the disc falls into the concave area, then it won't attach flush to the other wheel, which you also want to attach concave side in. Now, you don't have to do both concave side in. It's just a little bit easier. The other thing I should mention is that before using these, just take some rough sandpaper and scuff them up a bit. It makes it easier to get paint and glue to stick to them, as well as these little pieces that we made. Okay, so last step before we attach this is you want to take your scraper blade and cut one side of this off flat. That side is going to attach to the side of the tank. So now that we've got it made, we're just going to glue it to these buttons. Actually, before we do that, it's a little easier to make it. Now, this is a soft snowflake confetti thing. They come in varieties of shapes and sizes, and I've cut off a lot of the little bits here to make it look sort of like the return wheel in the back did. So you may or may not be able to find something similar to this. There's lots of different sorts of things that you can use. I find that the snowflake confetti are a really good material as a resource. And you just try to get it, whatever you're going to use, centered. On some of the old models, I even used, what were they? Sequins. Did not look bad, even, just as a centerpiece. But these look more accurate and more like what they did historically. So I'm just going to attach that to there and let that dry on there. And then when it's dry, I would attach this to the back. Now I have one made here already. And where they go is you just make sure you get your flat side that you carved down on the skewer right up against there. And you can put a little bit of glue on the side of here as well to get that to stick to the side of the hull. So just glue that into place. And that will be your rear wheel. Alright. So hopefully that will get you through the process of making the rear wheels. Like I said, you don't have to do that detailing, it just looks a little nicer in the end. And hey, if you like this video, sign up for the website, and you know, if you have any ideas of how I can do these things better or more easily show people how to do it, let us know how it would be done. You can film videos of your own, and if they're better than what I offer, I'll definitely replace them. And it's not going to be up to me, it's going to be up to the viewers. So if you have templates you'd like to offer or modifications, it's all open for you to put your efforts in. So that would be great if you guys will do that. Anyways, thanks for watching, and see you soon.